Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Doug Larson, co-host of the Barbell Shrugged podcast, of course. This week only, we are doing a 50% off sale for a nutrition course that I developed called Nutrition for Weightlifters. For years, I competed in weightlifting at either 85 kilo, which is 187 pounds, or as high as 94 kilo, which is 207 pounds, while simultaneously competing in mixed martial arts as a welterweight at 170 pounds. That's a 37-pound swing, and I was always going up and down. I got very good at manipulating my weight to hit my weight classes depending on which competition was coming up next. So that's all built into this course, how exactly I did that, how I put on muscle mass when I needed to get bigger, how I lost body fat when I needed to get smaller, and how I kept strong and stayed in shape during the process. So I teach you what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat it, how to count your macros, what to eat before, during, and after training, as well as what to eat before, during, and after competition. If you're interested, you can go to shruggedcollective.com/N4W, like nutrition for weightlifters, N, the number 4, and W, just 3 characters. Check it out, 50% off, and enjoy the show.
Mike Bledsoe here, CEO of the Shrugged Collective. Today, we bring to you a new show, Feed Me, Fuel Me, hosted by Jeff Thornton and Michael Anders. As we're expanding what we offer, traveling to great guests, and introducing you to the best content, we have partnered with amazing companies that we believe in. We talk and hang out with the founders and owners of these businesses. Not all products are created equal, even if it looks like it on the surface. We've done the research and have been in the industry long enough to see what really works and what will make the biggest difference for you long term. With that being said, one of my favorite companies, Thrive Market, has a special offer for you. You get $60 of free organic groceries plus free shipping and a 30-day trial. ThriveMarket.com/feedme. This is how it works. Users will get $20 off their first 3 orders of $49 or more plus free shipping. No code is necessary because the discount will be applied at checkout. Many of you will be going to the store this week anyway, so hit up Thrive Market today. Go to ThriveMarket.com/feedme. Enjoy the show.
This is episode number 86 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast with our special guest, performance coach, Darrel Wang. Welcome to the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. My name is Jeff Thornton, alongside my co-host, Michael Anders. Each week, we bring you an inspiring person or message related to our 3 pillars of success: manifestation, business, fitness, and nutrition. Our intent is to enrich, educate, and empower our audience to take action, control, and accountability for their decisions. Thank you for allowing us to join you on your journey. Now let's get started.
Hey, what's good, fam? Welcome to another episode of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. Darius and Jeff coming to you live with Coach Darrel Wang. What's good, man? How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, bro.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Yeah, we've got a very serendipitous connection with a lot of my buddies that I played with at the Air Force Academy who ended up in the flying community, and you turned out to be their parachute rigger.
Yeah, dude.
And that's how we got connected.
Such a small world, man.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Jordan Wilkie about wanting to move here.
Yeah.
And he's like, my buddy owns CrossFit Phoenix. And at the time, I'm like, CrossFit Phoenix? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
PHX, right?
Right.
But he was like, let me connect you too. Because at the time, I think you told me that whenever I'm in town, just to hit you up. And that was a year and a half before I actually moved here. So, yeah, super serendipitous.
Damn, it's
Yeah,
been a
for
year and a half you guys been talking?
Dude.
We connected a year and a half before he got here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Where were you stationed, though?
The shittiest small little town.
The greatest town ever.
Alamogordo, New Mexico.
Woo, woo, hometown, baby. Hometown.
Man. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I came from like a really big city station. So like from Japan to just this shithole of a town.
Where were you at? Yokota?
No, I was at Okinawa.
Okay.
Like
Okay,
every
yeah.
military
Kadena.
guy ever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kadena.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was sweet there. It was a great assignment. I had a couple deployments there, so I didn't really spend much time on the island, but when I was there, man, it was beautiful. And then I moved to a sandbox where I would have rather been in Afghanistan than Alamogordo.
He's hating right now. It's one of the greatest stations on the map, Holloman Air Force Base. I was one of the last born at that hospital down there. The one that's that shit was nice, boy.
Right.
They closed it down?
No, it's still there. It's
Okay.
just you're just going for routine checkups and things like that now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but-
explains it, man. Well, it explains a lot.
You got blessed with greatness getting down there.
Man,
we understand so much more about
You
you.
see my jersey hanging in Applebee's?
Man, that's the spot.
Yeah.
That's how you know you made it,
That's
right?
that's the only spot there.
Little town boy. Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah.
So what's the career path like for a parachute rigger in the Air Force?
Oh man, so not a whole lot of people know like how I got into the military. So that was never the number one option.
Yeah, give us the backstory.
Yeah, so I was running track and field pretty successfully, being recruited by Division I schools.
Nice.
My senior year, like I had a hip injury that took me out of the game completely.
Oh.
And this is after signing the letter of intent. This is after all that stuff.
To where?
The University of Arizona.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're
So-
going to end up here no matter what.
Dude, I know.
Full circle.
Yeah, I know.
You
So
just
from there,
didn't end up in the dirty tea.
yeah, from there I ended up like walking in the recruiter's office because my dad was always about me serving. He served in some overseas military, so he's like, it's a great experience. They'll pay for your school, whatever else. So I asked for the most difficult career in the military, and I went to pararescue school. From there, I got hurt, so they retrained me to be a parachute rigger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 90% fail rate out of that career field.
Rigging.
No. Pararescue.
Okay.
Yeah, so special operations. And
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I can do it. I can do this. And
Yeah.
then I wasn't able to make it through. I wasn't mentally tough enough. I wasn't like just ready. As a teenager,
Yeah.
you're not ready for any of that stress.
Was that at Kirtland? The
Yeah,
parachute?
that was
Okay,
at Kirtland.
Yeah.
Well, you start off at Lackland and then you move
Okay.
around to Kirtland.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But how long did it take you to be able to come full circle with all the things that you just said, not being mentally ready and be able to tell yourself that story?
Right.
Not necessarily just say it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, because we all have our past, and not everybody comes to terms with where they were at then compared to where they are now,
Right.
and use it as a stepping stone as opposed to an excuse.
Right. Yeah. So my dad got really sick in 2013.
Yeah.
And at that point, like we didn't know how long he was going to have or what he was going to do and how often I would see him. So realizing that I need to be okay with the man he made me was, I think, a very glaring moment to me when I was looking in front of the mirror and I'm like, this is me. It's going to work out, and not having any shame about it, really.
Yeah.
Like I tell this story to most people that are afraid of failure, and you guys probably know this. Everybody's failed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, but ultimately, like everything was a learning experience, and looking at it from a learning experience standpoint versus, oh, I just fucked up here. I could have been so cool or whatever, so rich, so famous. But now, like, I truly enjoy the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And without all of the experiences that I've had or opportunities, I wouldn't be here. Not even close, dude.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be slanging dope on the streets, you know?
Dude.
Yeah.
I totally feel that about you. Like, the hustle is real.
The hustle's
real.
mentality
It's
right
hard out
there.
here for a pimp. Yeah. So from there, I started the parachute rigging course, which is a pretty, I don't want to say easy school, but it's high risk, right? Because if you mess up, somebody's life is at risk.
Sure.
From there, I moved to Japan. I did some things with
Well,
heavy,
that's where you met my boy Billy.
Yeah, I met Billy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy was at competing at the regional level when I was there, and I just see this strong motherfucker in the gym lifting all the weights.
That is
And
the fastest white dude on the planet.
He is fast and he is strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
and at the time, like I didn't know who he was. He was
Okay.
training at another gym, but we crossed paths. I think at regionals in 2014, which like he's been there for the past few years already.
Yeah.
So super small world there, and I didn't find out this about you till I think we met in person.
Okay, so you met Jordan, and that's how you got a hold of me. But
Yeah.
you knew Billy as well.
I
prior
met
to
Billy.
that.
Yeah, I don't think I've had an actual formal conversation with him. I knew who he was.
Okay.
Like he was like Okinawa's fittest, I don't know, fighter pilot / celebrity / whatever. You know?
That dude, like when you look at like a real life Top Gun Maverick persona
Yeah.
who just lives the life.
Right.
That's Billy Sullivan.
Dude, that's him.
Flying fighter jets, snowboards, rides
Motocross,
motorcycles.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Dude, he's just missing skydiving.
He does that too.
No, he
He
doesn't.
just posted a picture of him jumping out of a plane.
Shit, I didn't
promise.
see it. I didn't see it. Yeah, he's
But
like a super adrenaline junkie, I think is the way I would
Yeah.
put it. And there's something very freeing about doing activities that really, really scare you, right?
Sure.
Because when you envision your mortality is like when you actually want to live your life. And
Right.
I mean, that's like one thing I've been trying to live by is that's why I jump out of airplanes so often, right?
Yeah.
Like looking at yourself plummeting to the earth at 100 miles per hour. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I don't do my job, like that's it. And I don't get to say goodbye to my family. I don't get to hug my dogs. I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Billy, he's a very good shining example of what it means to, I think, live your life to the fullest. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So from Okinawa, is that where you found CrossFit?
I found CrossFit while I was going through the pararescue pipeline.
Okay.
So there was like a very interesting parallel
You
to
have time to train during that
you
shit?
don't.
Okay.
But the guys that had like strength and conditioning backgrounds did the best in the course.
Okay,
And they
sure.
ended up like passing and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where I initially recognized it.
Okay.
And then from there, I started pursuing like ways, because for a long time I contemplated going back through the pipeline, seeing if I can make it through a second time. And I never went around it.
Okay.
So finding the parallel between strength and conditioning and success in tactical operations was, I think, huge. And I was brought to light in that topic in Okinawa, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's always been the back of my mind. I just didn't put it into practice. I didn't really start coaching till I got to Okinawa.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And then from Okinawa, you ended up in Alamogordo?
Yeah, dude, in shitty shithole Alamogordo. Yeah.
Where the true soldiers come from.
Yeah, I had Alamogordo was a very pivotal time in my life because I was able to do a lot of things there.
Okay.
So I was teaching with the CrossFit HQ staff right at the tail end of my Okinawan career.
Okay.
Moved to New Mexico, started doing that a little more because I mean, there was only so much to do for me on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then I opened up a nonprofit CrossFit affiliate,
Yep.
training dependents, training military members, training active duty members, training everybody that had base access in a very small facility that used to be a centrifuge.
Okay.
So like it's funny how it comes full circle. Like we're still making people throw up at the facility. Yeah. So I opened that up. I was the affiliate manager for about 3 years. Man, and leaving that was hard. And leaving Alamogordo was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Because you had built so much.
Yeah, because I had built my own empire. Because people, I mean, respect feels great. Like being the guy that knows a lot about strength and conditioning in a small town of 10,000, 15,000 people was great to me. And people would seek me out for advice, ask me to buy coffee, like all those things just to talk about what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And then moving here into a city of, gosh, I might be the bottom 10% here of knowledge and strength and conditioning. It's very humbling. So like top dog, little park to small fish, big pond type deal. Yeah.
Interesting, man.
What year were you stationed in Alamo from the Okinawa like timeline perspective?
I was
what years?
15 to 17.
15 to 17.
Yeah, 15
okay.
to 17. Spent quite a bit of time there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
No. 14 to 17.
14
3
to
years.
17.
3 years.
But you've made, very quick work. I mean, you put in a lot of time, but, in that condensed period of 6 years on active duty.
Yeah, 6.
You've accomplished quite a bit in strength and conditioning, and more specifically the CrossFit world with the networking that you were able to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're a shining example of taking advantage of, making yourself available for opportunities to come your way.
Yeah.
And instead of finding an excuse, being in the pararescue pipeline or whatever, not to do things, well, I'll say yes and figure it out later.
Right. Yeah.
Which we've also discovered you have the uncanny ability to overcommit.
Overcommit.
Yeah.
100%.
But you've definitely taken that and made it work for you as well. And so in your CrossFit career, you've coached some really prominent athletes and seen them be quite successful as well.
Right.
I mean, don't sell yourself short as being the small fish in the big
Sure.
pond now. I mean,
Totally.
you've done more than most coaches
Right.
that quote unquote are more credentialed than you are.
Yeah.
You've also competed at the highest level too within
Yeah,
CrossFit,
yeah.
which a lot of people don't get a chance to do.
Right,
Yeah,
and I was really lucky. And going back to the coaching side of things, Mike, you and I can relate to this. Is when we start coaching people, it's less about really fitness than how they're feeling. Right, we become just an ear to listen to what they have to say, what problems they're going through, and all that stuff. And yeah, I was very lucky to have just a really strong handful of people trust me with whether it's writing their programming or talking to them once a week. Like, it was a huge step in the positive direction for me. And I think that's what brought me on to the Power Speed Endurance staff, or formerly known as CrossFit Endurance, is just having that human connection and knowing how to communicate with people in terms of success of strength and conditioning. Like, whether it was CrossFit or bodybuilding or just cycling, it doesn't have to be singularly narrowed down to one sport. It's more of, and I don't know if life coaching is actually a thing. I've never done it, but I feel like I'm coaching them to make decisions in their life to succeed inside the gym.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, just as well as we do within the context of being an elite CrossFit competitor, you have to have so much discipline outside of the gym on top of just showing up and putting out in workouts, that you are indeed help people streamline that decision-making process.
Definitely.
So you're not sitting there coaching them through the rights and wrongs of life. It's like you have, as a coach, you have to have the ability to give people the foresight to realize that if I want to accomplish whatever the goal is, I can. It puts things in very easy buckets. I either can or cannot do this thing if I want to get to wherever.
Totally. Yeah, it's it took a lot of years, and most of my athletes are, half a decade older than I am. And they're like, once they find out how old I am, I don't know if it just strikes them the wrong way, but they ask like how I lived so much life. And it was like, I didn't go to college, right? I didn't sit for 4 years in a classroom to try and learn from somebody teaching something that I don't care about. I went out and I did the things that I cared about, and that's how I really sharpened my skills. And talking to people, I think, is nothing short of a God-given gift. Is like the gift of communication and showing and displaying affection and letting people know that you care about them and how your advice can or cannot impact them in a positive way, no matter what they're trying to do. So if it's entrepreneurship, sport, if it's being a father, which like none of these, or very rarely any of these things pertain to me, but I know like the human characteristics of what it takes to be just a good guy or girl. Yeah.
Where does that come from you? Because coaching or teaching, like not just as a title, but when you like embody that, where does that come from for you to develop that? Was that something that's been in you since you were a kid? Did you learn it throughout life? Because to be a really good teacher or coach, that's an extremely hard thing to do. And with the you and Durs, you guys are, I categorize you both as like fantastic coaches.
Thank you, man.
And teachers.
Yeah.
Where do you get that from?
So I think it branches from two things. The first thing was that my dad was the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. Right. So he was a single parent when my mom left. He was working in real estate as an appraiser. So he did that during the day. I would go to sleep. He would go to Albertsons to bag groceries. And my brother and I didn't know this until I was 18 years old.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's like, I was bagging groceries every night.
Wow.
So he was a really, really hard worker, and I wanted to be half the man my father wanted me to be, because I know he had very high aspirations of what I was going to accomplish, like being in the military after I made that decision and whatnot. So my hard work ethic came from him. As far as my communication skills go, I like to see how people are reacting to the way I'm talking to them, right? So if their eyes are lit up, if they feel inspired, if they feel turned off, if they feel any of those things, I like to be able to tell it. And I believe that in a lasting impact way, it affects more than just that 10-second conversation we have. So when I ask somebody how they're doing, good is not a good answer, right? And if I ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 how they're doing, they'll give like a 5, 6, or 7 answer, which isn't really great, right? I want to know about your daughter. I want to know about your son in his soccer practice. I want to know about how your marriage is going. I want to know deep, intimate details that you probably wouldn't share with just any other friend, but you need that extra push to get into the right direction. And dude, I've been a terrible public speaker up until probably 2013, 2014. And I was all about more of an intimate setting. So now on a larger platform, smiling at my members when I'm coaching a class, giving them hugs, letting them know that I care for them and that I love them before they walk out the door, I think is where I thrive. And really there's no background behind that. If I don't see them tomorrow because they get into a tragic car accident, I want them to know that I dig them and I appreciate them.
Yeah. That's legit.
Yeah.
Does that I feel like leadership plays a role here somewhere. And, as we come up in the military, especially, the good mentors that we've had would tell us, take all the good things from the leaders that you have and take all the shitty things and throw it away.
Yeah.
Did you have any leadership throughout your military career was like, in terms of delivery, I want to be like that guy or gal?
Yeah. I think I was introduced to so many people that I would never have met if I weren't in the military.
Right.
And I mean, that goes with saying any career field.
Sure.
So, I had some really, really great leaders, and I had some really great leaders at the time that ended up being shitty leaders. So, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't reach out after we stop seeing each other in person, right? And I try to reach out to a couple people like once a month just to let them know I'm still thinking about them, that their friendship meant a lot to me. And that's something that I think was singularly common with a lot of leaders that you've had. So my first boss on my first deployment, his name was Pete Ortiz. He was a Pavehawk pilot, just retired after 25 years. I would reach out to him and say, hey, I need a letter of recommendation because I'm applying to a JSOC position. And like a week later, I had it.
Yeah.
It was signed. It was perfectly written. Like everything about it displayed how I want to be a leader.
Yeah.
Because of the small care details. Like I remember when Darrel's dad was sick while he was in Afghanistan, I sent him to do this, this, and this. I let him go home a week early. Things like that, just so the timelines met up. And it's no longer about your life is what I think leaders have in common, right? Leaders being their own lives. It's about the people that you lead and how that can fill your cup in more ways than your actual success of being promoted or whatever else.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a 21-year-old when I got promoted to staff sergeant. Like,
fuck.
Yeah, I was 21. I was leading 35-year-olds, and it just felt so weird to me. But I found out that they respected me, not because they had to, because of the rank, but because I would ask them how they were doing outside of duty, ask them to hang out, ask them what I can do to help in other areas of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so, critical in terms of what you do now.
Yeah.
Right? Because from a business standpoint, it's not about your professional credibility.
Right.
Do you genuinely give a shit about me?
Right.
That's what keeps you gainfully employed, is your ability to convey that genuine care and empathy for what your athletes are going through.
Yeah.
And and if you don't take the time to go through that discovery with people, nothing that you will ever do will be sustainable.
Sure.
You can't build a community around it. The pedestal that people put you on will be extremely short-lived.
Right.
And like you'll quote unquote peak in high school.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And it's a lonely road if you try and do that shit alone, right?
Yeah.
Like I see a lot of your social media posts dedicating most of your success, almost all of it, to your wife's support, which is huge. Like you have to have people that love you during your time of need because you love them during their time of need.
Right.
And literally being able to have the conversations when things are difficult and they don't want to hear certain things is highly invaluable and unquantifiable as like for importance.
Right.
So yeah, I think I would not be anywhere close to where I am without the people that I have met, without the lives that I have touched, without the lives that have touched me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. Because the thing that comes to my head is like what you're just saying. People that really love you, they tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But being open to accept that advice, that's the hard part, where you have to really humble yourself and say, like, this person loves me and they're really trying to see me progress. But a lot of people take it like, well, fuck this guy, man. Like, I'm not going to take his advice.
Right.
Where'd that humility come for you? Because that's a hard thing to get over.
Dude, totally. It comes from wanting to be a better human, right? And you can't be a better human by only your opinion. If I'm out there donating to a charity and I'm the only one that sees it, like that doesn't really fill my cup. But if I'm out there in the community, like doing physical things to help, like outside of monetary value, that's where I think you're going to make the biggest buck, quote unquote. Right. And being able to listen to feedback and deliver it is highly important. And one thing Lululemon, as cliche as they are, taught me is how to accept, hear, and apply feedback.
Yes.
So I've been told that my communication was shitty one day, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well did you communicate? Oh, I'm at like a 3. Why can't we make it a 10? What can we do to make it a 10? And this is where we can start paving your path to success. Yeah. Just being around people that want to make you better and that want to uplift you, and being one of those people as well is, I think, where that comes from.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Well, you can see, really, just from knowing you, I guess, how many months? 3?
A couple
4
months now. Yeah, 4
Dude,
or 5 months.
But it resonates from just knowing you in that short period of time. Like when you're coaching a class, you can tell you pay attention to the small details in everybody's performance, not just like giving a boilerplate chicken, broccoli, rice, you know, meal plan.
Exactly.
You cater to everybody's movements. Like, okay, your movement pattern's a little off, and you pay attention. I've noticed those details about you, and it goes a long way because it does show that you care, and then you're not just like saying like I give a shit. You actually really mean it. And like that's one thing I've noticed about you. So
thank you, man. Yeah,
kudos to you on that, bro.
I mean, coaching is easy to me. I can recognize human movement easy. So what challenges me? Well, knowing that John has a daughter named Kate. Kate has leukemia, and she's getting treated right now. It's the small things that I remember about my members that make them come back for more. Because now they're not just getting a program or 1 hour of coaching. They're getting human connection time and just generally able to unload their plate onto my shoulders, where I don't take it home with me. I just listen to their issues, and I don't try and problem solve for most people. I'm just there. And a lot of people just need that from others. They don't need a problem solver. Like if your fucking backyard is messy, go mow the lawn. I'm not going to be the one to tell you that. You know.
Well, it's interesting because that was one of the most profound realizations I've had as a coach is the lack of appreciation that people have on the planet Earth. Like there's nobody out there that appreciates them for being them, you know, and it's a fucking travesty,
dude.
You know, and the caveat to that is it becomes even more of a travesty when you understand that regardless of how you feel about somebody, the understanding that they are doing the best they can with what they have. And being completely objective about that. You know, they're not necessarily a shitty person. They just don't yet have the tools to deal with the shit that they're going through. Right? So why compound that by being an asshole yourself?
Exactly.
You know? Like if you're having a bad fucking day, right? Like let me be the sounding board for that.
The best hour of your day at the gym. Right. Why can't it be the best hour? And that I actually try and communicate that to a lot of my members. If they can come at the end of their day, like an afternoon class, that's the best time for me to hear about what you have to say and for you to just take the weight off of your shoulders. Because, and there are like two different people made, like people that work out better in the morning and people that work out better in the evening. But like most things in life, it's interchangeable. And we don't want to get comfortable with attending a 6 a.m. class every day. Sometimes we need to put our body through the stressors of an afternoon class, which we haven't done in years. So having that sort of clear communication line between my clients, like, hey, come at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. I want to hear about your day, whether you work out or not. That's absolutely right, dude. You nailed it.
But there's an element of trust there that can only be cultivated through your proactivity as a coach and really asking those questions of discovery. And that's where I feel like a lot of people miss the mark. Like our interns that come through PHX, one of the biggest revelations they have is the human part of it. It's like it's not about just fixing somebody's squat. Like you need to connect with these fucking people. You know, like you said, this is the best part of their day. They're coming in here to forget about the stress going on outside the gym. You know, the car accident that they just narrowly escaped. You know, being rear-ended to the fucking red light. You know, their boss is an asshole. Like, none of that needs to exist in here. You know, and you need, as a coach, it's vital that you tell them none of that shit exists in here.
We're here to help.
Be here. Be present. You know, let's focus on the shit that we can't control. Right. And it's just revolutionary for them. It's like, oh my God. Like you see it on their faces every single day. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you care.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it's not about telling people to forget their problems.
Right.
Those problems still exist.
Sure.
But for the hour that you're here, they're not a factor.
Yep.
Or they shouldn't be a factor.
Yeah.
And you are in control of that.
Right. Totally. 100%. And one thing that Jeff does really well is like, I never know if Jeff is having a shitty day. Right? He's walking in with a big smile on his face because I know that when he comes in here, he's going to give it all he's got. He's going to have a ton of fun doing it.
Yep.
And that takes time to learn, right? I'm sure you weren't always like that.
No.
Like being a football player, knowing that you're going to go run 2 miles for practice, like you have a very shitty attitude. But I guarantee, like if we ask you to run 2 miles at the gym for the workout of the day, you'd be like, fuck, this sucks. But all right, I'll do it.
Right.
You know? Yeah. It takes a lot of time for the person to want to, like you said, not necessarily forget, but put that on the back burner because it doesn't really affect you
Right.
on deadlifting 405 20 times today.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's so beautiful about, I think, fitness in general is that it gives you a place to escape from sort of like your normal reality.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're talking about like leaving things at the door, that's why when I try to walk into a gym, I think I don't talk about business when I'm in a gym setting because we go back to that stuff. We live it 24 hours a day.
Right.
Right.
This moment we're here, let's talk about lifting, let's talk about locker room talk, whatever the hell we talk about, and from here we can separate.
100%.
But if you walk in, like you're saying, with all your worries and you start talking about this makes me feel this way,
Right.
and it's like you're saying, it's not what you do, it's how you make people feel.
Right.
If you walk in with your problems and start saying, my back, my this, you're going to make that person feel a negative sense towards you and be like,
Right.
well, I don't want to talk to this person
Yeah.
anymore.
Right.
But it's all about energy. Why would you want to bring that
Yeah.
into an environment to where you want to escape?
Yeah.
It's
You know?
creating problems that don't exist,
Yeah.
right? And I try to mentor all the interns that intern for me,
Yeah.
saying that if their squat isn't fucked up, don't try and fix it. You know, like you don't need to create a problem because if you tell them to load more
Yeah.
forefoot, then guess what? They're on their toes.
right.
You know, it's about overcorrection. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. If you don't have to bring a negative energy, which you never do, it's always
Right.
your choice. Don't do it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a great way to think about it. And even like at the gym or outside of the gym, and we were going to get into this a little later about breathing, you can alter your state dependent on what you want to feel.
Right.
Yeah, by breathing. So
Right.
if you're having a real shitty day, you walk into the gym, take a couple deep breaths, close your eyes and say, all right, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, because, you know, you spend a lot of time in personal growth and development. You spend a lot of time in personal growth and development. And, you know, exactly what you're saying about coaching is so, it just allows you to feel what you need to feel
Yep.
in the moment that you need to feel it. But then you're able to consciously make a decision, and you can make those moments of stress and anxiety and depression or whatever. Everybody feels those fucking things, right? But you can consciously make those periods so much shorter.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting at a red light, you know, crazy shit's going on in the gym. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen tomorrow.
Right.
And I just, I can't worry about that right
Right.
now. You know what I mean? Like, I need to go home and be present with my wife and my kid.
Right.
You know,
Totally.
and it goes away.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll deal with it when I fucking get to it. You know, but, you know, shit that's going on at the gym.
Are you at the gym? Like, it doesn't
have
matter.
anything. Like, if I need to deal with it, I should still be at the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Why am I going home?
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, by being conscious of those things,
Right.
you're in so much more control of your life.
Sure.
And that's what I've noticed just in people in general, as a coach, is like the lack of control that people feel. And
Yeah.
that's where the stress really comes from.
Undeniably. Yeah. So they come into the gym, they let whatever Sophie from work that's talking shit about them stress them out.
Right.
And then they go home and they feel even worse, you know,
Yeah.
because now they didn't get a good workout in. They didn't talk to anybody about
Right.
it. And it's all pent up in their insides
Yeah.
now. So learning that maybe the gym isn't your sanctuary, but there is somewhere,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Whether it's overlooking a beach, or you need to have one place that you can always go to that's going to relieve your stress and anxiety 100%. A lot of times it's like right between your ears too.
Sure.
Just looking very, very deep inside of yourself
Yep.
and knowing that, wow, I can fix this. I can either punch Sophie in the fucking face, or I can forget about it and forgive her because she's just a negative person, and I don't want that to affect me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the best thing, like one of the things I've started doing over the past year is like taking everything and practicing gratitude.
Yep.
So when you show up to a gym, instead of like, this workout's going to suck ass, we got to run 2 miles, for instance, be grateful that you can or you're able to run those 2 miles, because you think about it, there's people today that are in a car crash, they don't have legs, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't have that ability to do the things you're doing.
Or whose bodies are broken like mine.
Yeah, bodies are broken. Or like, you know,
Thanks, Marine Corps.
you look at any task and you start saying, okay, I'm grateful I'm able to jump on the computer and work or show up to work because somebody always has it worse than you.
Yeah.
I think when you start applying that, you start thinking a little bit more, you know, big picture, you know,
totally.
and not falling into like your sorrows and depths and, you know, all the sad shit, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed about your style of coaching, and just you in general as a person, is you speak with intention and you speak with affirmation.
Right.
So instead of telling somebody that their squat is deficient, you lead with the fix. Right. We're going to improve your squat by doing blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Not, man, that looked terrible.
Yeah.
You know, which already puts, you know, now you're forcing them to take steps back versus putting them in a scenario mentally where they're ready to make that leap forward. You know, where did you learn that? Because that's not innate.
Yeah, that I think a lot of trial and error. So I remember in 2013, I did a very bad job coaching an individual at regionals.
Okay.
At the end of the day, at the end of the regionals, we didn't finish where we wanted to. So I had to sit him down and I had to say, dude, I've coached you wrong all year. Like, I didn't reinforce your positive behavior, and I only dwelled on your negative behavior. So as a coach, that's a really difficult conversation to have.
Sure.
Because a lot of it is now, I felt my fault. So knowing that if I were to do it all over again, how would I do it? And why can't I apply that to my behavior every day instead of to high-level athletes, right? Because Kim, the soccer mom of 8, needs to squat better because she's trying to pick up her daughters at the age of 80. How can I picture that or frame it to where she knows, okay, I'm doing this, I'm getting fixed here because I need to play with my daughter.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where it came from. And I failed. I failed a lot. I coached a lot of people wrong. But taking responsibility for those actions and knowing that I can fix it. Like, I myself intrinsically can fix it for an external expression of gratitude or positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
That's such a growth mindset that you have, though. You know, like a lot of people don't have that mindset because it's like nobody wants to take that responsibility and say, I sucked. It's still like, well, I know I messed up, but you still blew it at the games or regionals. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That takes a lot to take to you know, to take that weight and say, you know, I messed up and bear that burden.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a strong person to do that, man.
Well, delivery is everything, man.
Yes.
You know, because like one of the toughest conversations to have is when somebody comes in the gym bitching and moaning about their day.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very easy to be like, well, you know, at the level that we play at mentally now, to just look at other people who aren't quite there yet and be like, well, you know, you can fix that.
Right. It's so easy to say.
Yeah.
Well, you're an asshole for just saying it like that.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? And with nothing behind it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Well, now it's time. Now you're in investigation mode.
Right.
Well, why do you feel like that?
Yeah.
What, you know, what is it about so and so or whatever situation that has you still feeling like this hours after the fact?
Right.
Right. And equipping them to look inside themselves and realizing that, you know, it's probably not as big a deal as they say it is.
Yeah.
Or that, you know, it should have never affected them in the first place.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if they take the quantum leap, it's like, oh shit, that was my fault.
Yeah.
Like,
Not a lot of people do that.
No,
Yeah.
but
It's so difficult.
But when you can coach somebody into that space, that's when you're fucking killing it, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I feel like you're such a huge add to PHX because that's where you come from.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's your delivery from fucking day one.
Yeah.
Is let me know about you.
Right.
You know.
Totally.
Like, it's not like you're not on a mission to show people that you care.
Yeah.
You just care.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and there's a night and day difference between the people that are out there to be something they're not and the people that are fucking genuine.
Totally.
You know, and so many people put on the mask, and it's like you're you're not going to last too long.
Yeah,
Right. That's
exactly.
And you see it all the time in like the
you're gonna
internet.
get discovered.
Yeah. Like in the internet content marketing space, you can tell when somebody's genuinely believes in their product and they're trying to get it out there to help people.
Right.
Or somebody comes on and it's like, hey, buy da-da-da-da, and they do all this bloviated crap.
Dude.
And like just try to sell you a product, and it's like, you can tell the person doesn't care. And that's
me
one
about
things with coaching or teaching.
Right.
It's a skill and it's a trait that you have to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
To really care for somebody and how you're going to make them feel and actually affect their lives in a positive way.
Yeah, I've got two thoughts about that. The first one being the companies that I work for or work with
Yeah.
typically have a mission bigger than themselves, right? They're not sliding into people's DMs asking if they want to be a representative for their product.
I know who you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no care there, right?
Yeah,
It's a copy and paste from some high level athlete or professional, whatever,
Yeah.
asking if you want to be a member of their team. They're a very exclusive club. Come to find out, 3 people on your block are now fucking doing the same thing as you and selling the same product as you. There's no care or authenticity there.
Right.
I don't believe that that's something that everybody can do, which is apply the amount of appreciation for an individual. So when I started working with Gators, right, I told them that, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. Like 2 days later, I had 8 pairs of sunglasses at my door saying, hey, here's a discount code for your friends to use. Tell them to hit it hard. We are also a very philanthropic company. So we will donate X amount to the Navy SEAL Foundation. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. This is my calling. I want to be bigger than myself, and I want the companies that I work with and for to be bigger than themselves. Yeah.
That's legit, man.
Totally.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because like one of those, he's a monk. Don DePani is his name. And he talked about his mentor. I don't know what you would call him. His mentor, pretty much. When he was building this temple in Hawaii, basically the man passed away, his mentor.
Yeah.
But he made sure at his death that they burned everything of his that was him, his pictures, his writings.
Yeah.
He said, because I don't want this to be the temple that I made.
Ooh.
I want this to be a temple that lives 1,000,000 years far past my life, to be a home where people come and learn to be a monk.
Totally.
And he's like, once you learn how to do that, you build something bigger than yourselves. He's like, he didn't have 10-year plans. He had a 1,000,000-year vision when he built this temple. And he didn't want his name on any of the temples. So by that time that those days come, people were just like, no, this place is a place to develop better human beings, instead of like, this is the guy that we're going to look up to and pray to.
Sure.
I was like, that was such an interesting mindset to live. You're building something that lives past, just your name. I think that's an incredible mindset to have.
Yeah.
It takes real great people to do that. Really humble.
It's interesting that you say that, because, in a lot of the business mentorship that I've had, I've been advised not to use my name in the branding.
Yep.
Because, if it was CrossFit Durs, guess what? People come in the door looking for you.
Yeah.
And then everything that's not you,
sucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like you're setting everything up for failure or lack of longevity.
Right.
But I don't think it comes from that mindset.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would like to think that that's where I'm at with the whole thing, because it's not about me.
Right. Because
You know what I'm
without
saying?
Michael, PHX would still be an amazing place to be.
Oh fuck, I would hope so.
Shit, I
You
hope
know.
so too.
I mean, that's what I hope. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be at PHX in the capacity that I'm there forever.
Right.
So to build it around me does a disservice to everybody, coaches and members.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
You're not able to do your job effectively and make the connections that you need to make to be an effective coach.
Right.
If people are look at you like, well, you're not Durs.
Yeah, you're not the owner.
Right.
You're not the person on the billboard. You're not this person.
It creates animosity from the gate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you've done a great job of like trusting your staff for that. Is that that we are representing you, and that's why there's this long internship process for most people. Is you have to know that we're a good representation of the empire that you built around Durs, outside of Durs.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think that was spot on, and people have to be willing to sacrifice something to come work for you. And it's a 6-month internship or 9-month internship where it's unpaid, and you just have to learn about the community, about the sport, about the family, about everything else in and outside of the gym that involves the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Darrel, I always ask a lot of people's questions because I'm always intrigued by, body art, tattoos, and things like that. And I've said it before, my brother, he started this documentary called Visual Vocabulary.
Yeah.
What does the art mean to you? And I see you have beautiful pieces on your
Thanks,
arm.
man.
Can you dive into a little bit to what your visual vocabulary means to you and what you're portraying? Because I think it has a strong message.
It means unemployment. It means unemployment. It means how are you ever going to get a job? Yeah, so when my dad got sick, a lot of my stories are around when my dad got sick.
Okay.
So this ship at the bottom of my arm was for a quote that I had heard saying that an entire ocean can't sink a boat unless the boat allows the ocean to get in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like kind of like an outside world perspective, intrinsically, if I don't let the negativity of the world affect me, I'm going to be on the climb forever. So from there, I just kind of built it up. I was fucking 18 years old, so there are some mistakes on here.
Yeah.
Obviously, just things that I can see. Maybe I'll just cover or whatever. But yeah, I mean, altogether, I thought a black and white piece would look great. I've got my family's initials on my arm. So yeah, and a couple more of my buddies that passed away on my left arm.
That's dope, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because every decision that I make needs to be, not needs to be, but I would like for it to be something that they would be proud of me doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were genuinely good people. They died doing what they loved to do and what their calling was to do. So flying fighter jets or flying helicopters or being a helicopter gunner. Like those people are my daily influences. And yeah, I want to be like the best characteristics of all of them combined together.
That's
and trying
dope.
to make them proud.
That's dope, dude. Because I notice especially people who live in the space we live in, when they put body art on or tattoos or anything, it always has a deeper message than just, so you said, the 17 or 18-year-old mistake when you get a tattoo. Right. It's always a deeper meaning behind it. So I think that's just a beautiful story and very interesting.
Thanks,
I like that one about the ship.
Dude, yeah, it's
that's
great.
That's dope, man.
There's been a lot of interesting tattoos I've been on the fence about. And maybe we'll put them into play here soon. I don't know.
That's dope,
I've got a job now. I don't have to worry about that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Would you classify yourself within the because I don't feel like you work for me.
Yeah.
I work
alongside
we work
you.
together.
Yeah.
Right. And that's I really hope that I know that you understand that and you feel that. And I hope that the rest of, our staff at PHX feels the same way.
Right.
But would you classify yourself within the context of an organization to be unhireable at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't. I think any job that I would take from here on out, or career, or whatever you want to call it, would have to be with somebody that I respected and have worked alongside. I don't think that I can bring Circle K a great resume. I don't know how to sell potato chips or protein shakes or muffins or blueberry, whatever it is. I think that I have a very special skill set, and whether you're spiritual or not, I think I'm doing the work that God put me on this earth to do, which was meet people and talk to people and make them feel things, whether good or bad. Yeah, so unhireable, 100%.
Sure.
And like you broke it down very well, I have to work alongside a partner, not for somebody. And you're the exact same way, right? You could never go work for somebody right now. Absolutely not. So finding business partners / friends / mentors / people that you are mentoring is how I think you build a successful business. Yeah. Yeah. And whether the money comes with it or not, you know that your heart is full and it's beating faster than it ever has before. Right. And that you're doing what you love to do.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's dive in a little bit into the breathing topic, because was it a year and a half ago that we did Wim Hof breathing? Durs and I. That experience, dude. First time ever doing it, incredible experience. Right. And I haven't stuck with the practice by any means, but I mean, when I was doing it, it was honestly life-changing, man. Totally. Just talk about a little bit how you apply breathing into everything you're doing.
Darrel keeps it real. He's like, bro, you breathe like shit.
Dude, I can see your tonsils on double unders.
Hyperventilating over there.
Right. Easy handstand push-ups. Easy.
Right. You breathe like a horse.
Yeah, so really, really good question, and I can.
I'm an anaerobic athlete. I don't need oxygen.
100% fast twitch all day. Yeah, so there's a lot of information now, or even before, backing like how to breathe properly. And we'll start from like the very basics, where if you lay a baby on their back, you see when they breathe that their chest collapses, that their belly is physically moving. So learning how to breathe at the basic fundamental level, like a baby, is highly important. So why do babies squat so well? Why do they do all of these things so well? Because they haven't had any hindrance of the outside world quite yet.
Yeah.
But also thinking about it, like babies are hard to kill or easy to kill. Right. So we don't want to mimic everything with basic principles. We want to make it better and how we can develop our strength or our spirituality or our mental toughness to be a little stronger. So that said, number one, nasal breathing can alter state. Mouth breathing can alter state. So whether you want to be in a parasympathetic dominant state, sympathetic dominant state, you have trouble dealing with anxiety, you're trying to downregulate or upregulate, there are breathing protocols for everything that you can do based on a customizable approach. If you have, let's say, a breathing coach, or you go to some website where you can plug in your exhale time, and they'll give you numbers where it'll help you, I guess, deal with life a little better. You know? Yeah, so for an example, I texted Brian McKenzie early last year, like in 2017. And I told him I was stressed out. I was going through a really rough time in my life. He had me do a test. I sent him the test results. He said, "You're fucked up." 10 minutes later, he calls me and he says, "You need to do this, this, and this." Three weeks of practice later, I felt infinitely times better.
Wow.
I felt so much better because I was able to know that literally I can control everything that I feel and everything that I want to feel within me through breathing only. And it's such like an easy thing to do, but it's not, right? Everybody does it wrong. And unless you've been exposed to the science of it or some methodologies, it's going to be really hard for you to practice if you don't know what you're doing. But as an introduction to most clients that come to me and ask about breathing, I say, just play with it, right? Breathe through your nose sometimes only for the workouts. Hold your breath on some things, like exhale slow. Those are all like fundamental principles that are going to help not only your fitness, but your life outside of fitness. Yeah.
Interesting. Because that's what they were talking about with that breathing seminar that we went to. They're talking about most of the majority of the world doesn't take a conscious breath their entire life.
Yeah.
So they don't even know how to practice or the study of breathing. And then breath or air is a healing property all in itself. So if you learn how to do it properly, your body's going to heal itself and you'll be more in tune. I just found that as an interesting concept because we breathe, you do it unconsciously, but to start understanding and breaking it down scientifically and saying these are the reasons why it helps and here are the things you can achieve while breathing properly is incredible. Like watching, what's his name, Wim Hof, march up a mountain with bare feet, shirt off. And he's sitting there fine. It's like, that's incredible.
Well, I think there's a difference between breath practicality and just human genetics. There will never be a Wim Hof. You could do everything that Wim Hof has done in your lifetime, follow the exact same footsteps, but you're not going to be him, right? So I think that categorizing human ability with performance is really important, and you have to be able to distinct between the two, right? I know at this point, if I put Durs through an 8-week running program, he's not going to go run an ultra marathon. Not as fast as a runner who went through high school running all his life or her life and now is running 135 milers, right? You have to detach from wanting to be somebody else. And I had a huge identity crisis growing up, like trying to be like the cool kids on the basketball team or trying to stand like a certain guy and trying to talk like a certain guy. At one point, like, I had so many black friends that I was starting to talk like him. And then 2 days later, my dad sat me down like, "Hey, cut the shit out. Like, who are you? Why are you changing?" It's about creating your own identity with the tools that you're given. So let's call it breathing. I am now generally a calmer person because I practice breathing. I wasn't always that way, but I'll never be as calm as the calmest person on this planet. There'll be some Chinese girl in her garage always calmer than I am because she's not having to work in a basement somewhere.
That's an interesting. I like how you pivoted to that point because a lot of people, they model, but they also adapt other people's skill sets and try to become that one person instead of being their unique self. It's incredible. You see, but you don't notice it sometimes because you're looking up to a lot of people and saying, okay, I'll just use like a Gary Vaynerchuk. Everybody, I can tell who watches Gary Vaynerchuk's material because the content they put out is 100% Gary Vaynerchuk voice.
Right.
Yeah.
And like they lose their voice along the way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the tragedy of it because people feel like to be successful where these people are, that you have to follow their steps exactly instead of just modeling their success and doing it your own way. They feel like they just follow everything to the T, and like that's the tragedy of things.
Yeah,
What you're saying with breathing.
there's variables in that
you can't account
nobody
for.
talks about.
Right.
You know, nobody talks about like the chance opportunities that Gary Vaynerchuk got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't own all of his success, regardless of what he's preaching. Like there were circumstances that happened that weren't part of the plan that integrated in the plan.
Right.
You know, and you can't, regardless of how, dialed in you model your behavior, you can't duplicate instances of chance.
100%. And I think that I'm sure all of us here sitting here have had loss in their lives, right? So if somebody that I love passes away, I think, okay, if that yellow taxi didn't cross the road at that time, maybe Mark would still be alive.
Right.
And it's the same thing with success, right? Had Gary not been in the spot that he was in at that exact moment, talking to those exact people when the weather was this exact temperature, things would have been monumentally different.
Right.
Like not even close. Right. And those are the small things that you have to attribute to just letting life take the reins.
Yep.
You can work hard and you could be at the right places, but if it's not going to work out, sometimes it just won't work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like the pararescue stuff.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, I love that you own your story because how many buds candidates do we know?
man.
Like, I was in SEAL school, but, it's like, okay, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, own that shit
right.
and move on.
Yeah.
Like, understand that you are not where you're at now because you failed buds.
100%.
You're where you're at now because of how you've let that experience at buds inhibit your ability for growth.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if you want to be completely honest about it.
Yeah.
And like it just wasn't gonna work out for you, bro.
Yeah. Could have attacked it
at
1,000 different ways.
Right. At some point you just need to own that shit and move on.
Right.
And that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about is how many instances of chance, positive or negative, do we hang on to
Totally.
that, even the positive stuff
Right.
inhibits us from getting to where we're actually trying to go.
Right.
Yeah, I remember meeting you for the first time and hearing that you, Durs, went to the Air Force Academy but left.
Oh, no.
And I
blew it.
Yeah, you blew it. And one
You
thing...
don't have to sugarcoat it for me.
I knew the exact moment I wanted to come work with and for you when you said, "Oh, I got kicked out for this." Like, not that, the dean was being stupid, my roommates were smoking crack, or whatever it was. Like, it was your fault, and you know it, and you owned up to it.
Yeah.
And then you took that and you ran somewhere else to go play football in West Texas or, like, wherever it was. Yeah. So that was a very pivotal point in my life when I knew that I wanted to coach at CrossFit PHX because this is a man that owns up to himself and his mistakes.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. I mean, that's kind of like my expectation. That's my litmus test for just people in general.
Right.
You know what I mean? Me and Jeff had a situation a couple of weeks ago. He's like, comes in the gym, like off hours in pants and flip-flops.
Right.
I'm like, oh, we about to have a talk.
Nikes, bro. My Nikes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, he is not here to work out.
Right.
What's up? And we just had a very honest conversation. Like, are we on the same page? Am I good with you? Are you good with me?
Yeah.
And, ultimately came down to, are we going to keep doing this fucking podcast?
Right.
And, when it was all said and done and the dust had settled, it was like, I have so much more respect for him now.
Yeah.
It's like, he doesn't own other people's issues.
Right.
Like once everything is out on the fucking table, it's like, well, the way you feel about that is not my responsibility.
Exactly. And people have to learn to speak for themselves, right? Like I speak for I.
Correct.
I don't speak for Mike. I don't speak for Jeff. I don't know what they're feeling. I think I know what they're feeling, but really, how much credibility does that give me?
Right.
Like I think my dogs are hungry because they eat all the time, but does that mean I'm going to feed them every time they come begging for food? No.
Right.
I you're the only one that knows what goes on in your head, not what goes on in somebody else's head. Like whether you've been married 10 years, 30 years, like sometimes your wife's going to surprise you with her thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been like, well, I did this because I thought you thought this. She was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I bought you flowers because I thought you liked flowers. Well, hey, motherfucker, I'm allergic.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Chocolates, baby. Chocolate.
Chocolates always do the trick. Yeah, but that's a really good point. Just speaking for yourself and not accepting your own external opinions about other people.
When did you stop making excuses for people?
I stopped making excuses for people when, gosh, I had gym members saying that, like we were talking about before the podcast, I would do this, but like joining the service.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been a Navy SEAL, but I was going to go swim for Arizona State or whatever, you know?
Right.
Those buts are, and I listen for it. I hear it, and I absolutely listen for it. And when I speak, I'm conscious of it. So when I'm apologizing to somebody, I never say but. And when I say that I fucked up, I never say but. You know, I became very conscious of that when I found out that I was making just too many excuses for myself. Sitting at home, just writing an email saying, hey, last week's program fucked you up. I'm sorry, but you should be used to the volume. Like, no, like that's the person. That's not really anything that I can make an exception for.
Right.
Like, it happened because they were in a specific place at a certain time. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I had an individual qualifier from California. He was going to qualify, I would like to say, going to qualify for regionals as an individual on the new West Coast region, which is highly competitive.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And he got a concussion on handstand push-ups.
What?
Yeah. It's his 4th concussion. So I'm thinking of it now, like, I can apologize to him for not having done enough handstand push-ups
in
his programming,
but
but
just accept the fact that he's predisposed
exactly.
to being
Like,
concussed.
this was his fate either way.
Yeah.
I could have programmed no handstand push-ups. I could have programmed 100 handstand push-ups every day. It would have happened either way. Yeah.
My arms are short. That's why.
There he is. They don't want to use names. They don't want to use names.
I was about to qualify. Why you got to tell my story like that, bro?
Jets run head first into the wall every day. Yeah, man. It's
you should be used to that shit. Man.
it's a beautiful thing when you stop accepting your own excuses.
Yeah.
You made
Yeah.
a post about it the other day, I think. You know?
Well, Nicole definitely doesn't let me buy my own
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? She just holds me accountable for my decisions.
That's
you know?
what everybody needs.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I don't care, like your dog, your little sister, your pastor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just somebody needs to hold you accountable. There can't have too many people. There won't be too many people holding you accountable.
Right.
And I brought that
trust
to
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I brought that to the Lululemon staff the other day when we had a staff meeting. I'm like, why don't we tell everybody our goals? That way they can help us and they can call us on our bullshit when we're not doing it right or we're taking a step in the wrong direction.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it gives you power when you have somebody, when you take the accountability too.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise you're playing victim the whole time, saying these are the reasons why this didn't happen. But when you say you take the accountability, you can always look at the solution, how to solve this problem.
Right.
You know, one of the things I got when I met Grant Cardone in person, there was a situation where the lights went out in Miami. And, you know, his house lost power, the refrigerator, the food went bad, all that stuff. Then he went back to himself. He said, it's my fault that the power went out.
Yeah.
Everybody said, no, the whole Miami-Dade County went out.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I could have had generators on backup that kept my house fueled to where the electricity goes on so the food wouldn't have gone bad.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, to have that type of mentality to think that no matter the situation, the cause, even if it was just a county going down, he was already thinking of solutions on how he could have changed his situation to make it a positive way.
Absolutely.
And so if you deal with people on that level that have, you know, major success, people view as major success, it gives you no excuse to, you know, create like little, what do you call it? Excuses for yourself because you can always be the solution to any problem that you have in your life.
Yeah, definitely. You know? I would absolutely agree with that. Without me making the conscious decision to fix shit that was going south, it would have never gotten fixed. I can't count on my brother. I can't count on my parents to always be there to bail me out.
Right.
At some point in your life, you just got to be, quote unquote, an independent black woman.
Yeah.
I did not expect that one.
There's so much shit that Darrel says. It's like, I did not see that coming.
I did not expect that one. Medea.
No, but it's interesting though because I respect that so much about you, because when you and I have had dialogue, number one, I leave you hanging on text messages a lot
all the time
because I want to have conversations in person.
Yeah.
I hate text messages, especially when it's a point of friction, however minuscule or huge it may be.
Right.
You know, but anytime I've given you feedback, positive or negative, you take it in, establish its value for you, and then execute a decision.
Right.
But what you don't do is personalize it.
Right.
And that's the first instance we had that kind of interaction, is when I knew that I want to keep you in our community for as long as that ride will last.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
because you're right for everybody that you interact with.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that everybody does is they will only let people get away with shit that they let themselves get away with. And when you hold yourself to a standard, nobody's getting away with shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the mentality that, you know, everybody should, you know, be trying to elevate to.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. I can confidently say that any other establishment that I would choose to work for in the future will not provide that to my table.
Yeah.
You know, like, I need people that are like-minded like me, good businessmen, good fathers, good sisters, good, all of those things, for myself to be successful. And I recognize that. And I think you recognize that in yourself. So you are like, I forgot what the quote was, but you are the 5 people you hang out with most.
Sure.
And if you're hanging out with some addicts on the street, like, when is it your turn? Like, when is it going to be you? Because it's coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not if.
Yeah. It's when.
It's when.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, people don't take that for fact.
Right.
You know, they're like, well, they start categorizing people. Well, I don't hang out with so and so negative person that much.
Right.
Motherfucker, if they're on your list, you probably hang out with them more than you consciously realize.
If I open up your text messages and their names on there. On the first page. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
That's the honest truth, man.
You know.
Yeah. Dude.
But dude, no, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know it's your day off from everything, but you got a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
You know, one of the greatest and worst things about you is the overcommitment thing.
Dude.
You know,
super overcommitted.
And
I'm trying to fix it.
But
I will fix it.
Yeah. Exactly. The affirmation. Right.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, man, I want to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
You can answer them on any level: mental, physical, spiritual, whatever. All 3 if you want.
Okay.
But it's about your daily routine.
Okay.
What do you do each and every day to feed yourself and kickstart your motivation? And the follow-on to that is, what do you do each and every day to fuel yourself and create that carryover of momentum? You know, into the people that you interact with, and you know, the next day.
Yeah. To feed myself, every morning I wake up and I do one of 2 things. I either like go take a piss first, or I feed my dogs and let them out first. Those 2 things, if I do it any day out of order, like, my whole day feels thrown off. So I like being outside, watching my dogs off the leash, like, just do their business. And it's very meditative for me. So I have that routine where now I'm outside in the fresh air, in the sun, usually like just standing there and reflecting on, oh, I slept well, or I had this dream, I had this nightmare. That's what creates for me a successful path throughout the day. Now, what fuels me through, like, carrying over weeks and weeks and weeks and years to come, is daily self-reflection and explaining how I could have managed a situation better, or how I ideally managed a situation. So Lindsay and I will sit on the couch every night. I'll tell her about my day. I'll tell her about the shitty parts, because I don't want to have days like that any longer.
Yeah.
Not just to vent.
Sure.
Right? So trying to find a solution to how I can, I guess, create my own destiny, right? And laying down the path for it.
Dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, before you get out of here, where can everybody follow you and support you and everything you have going, Big Dog?
Yeah, so few companies support me. 3Fuel, so if you go to 3fuel.com, Gators Eyewear, Shoe Q, and Power Speed Endurance. And the best way to get a hold of me is probably email. So Darrel@unscared.com would be great, man.
Awesome,
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
You know, for everybody out there in Feed Me, Fuel Me land, support Darrel on all those platforms. And you'll also, as a virtue of all those platforms, you also get to know Darrel a little bit better. And if you're in the need for quality programming or getting yourself to the next level, man, Darrel's your guy. He definitely knows what he's talking about, and if nothing else, he'll get you breathing better.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, boss.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Until next time, feed me, fuel me.
And that'll do it for this episode with our special guest, Darrel Wang. If you want to check out everything that Darrel has going, go to the full show notes on feedmefuelme.com. Also, be sure to connect with us on social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at feedmefuelme. We would love to hear from each and every one of you. If you found this episode inspiring in any way, please leave a rating and a comment in iTunes so we can continue on this journey together. Also, be sure to share it with your friends and family on social media, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, or any other social platforms that you use. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today and allowing us to join you on your journey. We would love to hear your feedback on this episode, as well as guests and topics for future episodes. To end this episode, we would love to leave you with a quote by John C. Maxwell. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Way to make it to the end of the show. As always, go to Shrugged Collect over at iTunes. Give us a 5-star review, positive comment, and hit thrivemarket.com/feedme to get that great deal on awesome groceries. See you next time.